Good morning and welcome to Hope, Faith, and Joy Daily Devotion. I'm in my hotel room in Springfield, so I'm sorry for the lighting, but we can still do our morning devotion today. So we're looking at Esther chapter 7. Can you believe it? We're getting there. And so we see that Esther is doing her second banquet now with the king and Haman. And as you remember, Haman's really upset that he's had to honor Mordecai. And so, of course, they get to partying or drinking, and of course it gets to the point where the king is feeling good again, and so he says, Esther, what do you want for me? If it's half the kingdom, I will give it to you. And Esther does this thing where, she kind of goes in slow and she lets them make their own assumptions along the way. And she says, I want to save my life. And I want to save the life of my people because, they've been destroyed. And she even goes on to say, if they were being sent to slavery, I would have not said a thing. But you're going to destroy them. And we see then he's like, well, who has done this? And what she does is she points out Haman at this point in time. She's like directly to it. And the king's fury just, engulfs him. And so he has to leave the room. Haman has realized what's happened. So he goes over to her chair and he falls prostrate at her, and he's just begging for mercy. But then this is where it kind of gets, the plot keeps getting misunderstood, but it leads to where it's supposed to go. Is then the king comes in and he doesn't, in his fury and his anger, he doesn't see Haman asking for forgiveness. He sees him as attacking Queen Esther. And so now he has every right that he has to destroy Haman because of his actions. And then, of all things, like in all of this, one of the servants recognizes that Haman's gallows are outside and that were meant for Mordecai. And he says, hey, well, we've got something right here, right now. And then the king says, yeah, go hang him. And so it's this, chapter 7 just rolls real fast. It's just a few things. And so it says in verse 10, this is 10 verses. That's all chapter 7 is. So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then the anger of the king was abated. So in this chapter, we see big emotions, not all thought out. The only person who kind of stays calm is Esther. She has a logical complaint, and everything. But then she never says kill Haman. The king just says, who did this? And she just goes, well, Haman. And then it's the same overreactionary thing. And then of course we see Haman now dying by the same torture weapon that he had built for Mordecai. So it ends up being his own curse, so to speak. And so I think there's a lot to think about. Where do we overreact to situations and we don't see the real thing that's going on? And how has that maybe hurt us more than helped us by overreacting? There's a sense of what have we created as punishment for somebody else and is really only punishment for us. The other person never experiences it. I think a lot about resentment and unforgiveness are two of the weapons we use more often than anything to harm someone else, and it only harms us. It never hurts the other person. They're most likely unaware or they don't feel it. And so where do we need to let forgiveness come in and mercy and everything? And so yeah, today's kind of a short devotion because I'm getting ready to go work for annual conference, but there's always time to take a little moment to reflect. And so I appreciate you joining me this morning with Hope, Faith, and Joy Daily Devotion, and I will catch you all next week. So have a beautiful day and see you later. Bye.